Ooh. Oh,
I think the people are waiting for us.
you think?
I would hope so. They've been watching it for a while. I would imagine they'd be like, well, were they going to talk about something?
Okay.
So what do you think we could talk about today?
Um, the gloves you got on, like,
Well, this is the gloves I thought I'd wear for this special occasion because I want to talk about one of my favorite acting portrayals, actually.
and what's that?
Well, I've always said that a great actor is always defined by the characters he can create and the lines he's able to think about, pretty much, right?
Okay.
Now, have you thought of any personal actors that are able to improvise on the spot, create, and also create iconic characters at the same time?
Let's see here. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Um,
Well, I'm thinking about something a little different from that, actually. Let me explain. Now, there have been a few actors that have been considered the great, shall we say. Now, there have been, say, like Charlie Chaplin, right? Charlie Chaplin was able to create an iconic character that was able to transcend time, and even today we still reference him wherever we go. It's so iconic that I even played him once, actually, for a little thing I did with some friends on this little 16 millimeter challenge thing, I think.
okay.
But that's a story for another time. I want to talk about Peter Sellers.
Peter Sellers.
Peter Sellers, because a lot of people have given him credit as being one of the most funniest British comedian actors since Chaplin, in a way.
Okay.
Now, he's had a lot of really iconic characters.
Inspector Clouseau.
Yes, and we've also seen him in Lolita. It was the 1950s one, so
Not the one with Jeremy Irons.
not the one with Jeremy Irons, although that would have been cool too. Or Being There. He's
The
even
Party.
The Party. Like, well, I'm on a diet, but what the hell? But what if I told you about one of his more recognizable ones, where he doesn't play not one, not two, but three iconic characters in the same movie?
Okay, I'm listening.
It's called Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Okay.
No, seriously, look up the trailer, folks. That's exactly how they worded, word for word. I'm not making that up. Now, I should warn you that this is going to be a Kubrick film again, so you know what that means. It's going to be a film where everything has to be down to a T with Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with this one, because this is considered one of his greatest satirical films.
Oh, yeah?
It's based on a book called Red Alert. Now, the book's a lot more different. It's a lot more darker in tone. In fact, the first few minutes of the book makes you think, good God, this is the beginning of Fallout 4, right? But no. The movie went a little differently. It gave us characters with weird names. It gave us funny situations. It gave us surreal situations. And it also gave us one of the greatest performances by Peter Sellers.
Who are the characters that you played as?
Well, the first one we see him in is Mandrake, Colonel Mandrake. He's a RAF exchange pilot from the British Air Force. He's your stereotypical goofy kind of gun commander. As was like, oh yes, pip pip, up, step up a lift there, darling, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And he gets to essentially try to save the day from Colonel Jack D. Ripper. Wait a minute, Jack D. Ripper? Why does that sound familiar all of a sudden?
Jack the Ripper.
Man, you gotta give it to the names of these characters, man. They make it up. I was like, I say, Jack, I seem to have got a gummy leg here. I don't know that. Now, that was pretty typical for him, and actually that's kind of what his real accent is. But then we see him as the president, President Muffley, or Muffler, I mean. It's kind of hard to say because his name's kind of weird.
Okay.
Now, this is where we get to hear a Brit doing an American accent, and I'll admit, he does a really good job with this, actually. But more importantly, it's the way that the president is portrayed. He seems to be good intention, kind of like the president from Mars Attack, you know? But just like the president from Mars Attack, he's kind of in over his head, he's kind of naive, and he's kind of the president you pray to God you never get in a situation like this.
Okay.
Oh, interesting fact, actually. There was a scene that was cut from this movie because it was actually ringing true to another president at the time. You see, the film was shot in 1964. Now,
Okay.
there was a great big pie fight scene in the war room, actually, of the film that had to be cut out. Because in the scene, the president gets hit by a pie, and someone says, the president has been hit down in his prime, or something like that. However, it was 1964. What had just happened in Dallas in 1963, a year from that?
Kennedy getting shot?
Exactly. So they had to cut that out because of the possible backlash they may have gotten for making that line. That's not the only line they had to cut out. There was also a line in the plane where they had to change the line from, shoot, I felt like I had a pretty good weekend in Vegas with that kind of stuff. Originally, it was supposed to be, shoot, I felt like I had a pretty good weekend in Dallas with that kind of stuff. But besides that, he also gets one of the most funniest scenes of all freaking time in it. That'd be the phone call scene with Premier Kissoff of the USSR. And he gets to talk to him on the phone. He's like, oh, yes. Hello, Dmitri. Yes, hello, Dmitri. Well, let me finish, Dmitri. Yes, it's very nice to hear, Dmitri. You know, Dmitri, remember that possible solution we had where someone would possibly do something with the bomb? Well, let me finish, please. Well, I'll tell you what he did. He did a very silly, naughty thing. Well, don't tell you you're upset. I could be just as upset as you, Dmitri. Look, I'm even more upset than you, actually. And so on and so forth. And it just gets even sillier and sillier. But just when you think it couldn't get any funnier, we then get the third character in the film. And arguably one of the most funniest characters I've ever seen. And that is the iconic Dr. Strangelove himself. Now, this is an interesting case because they take a symbol of hatred and racist views and fascist ideals, and they make it really funny.
Which is something that normally you wouldn't do?
No, you can do it, but it's kind of difficult with some comedy things to do. But here, they managed to make it really funny. For example, Dr. Strangelove is based on these real-life Nazi war scientists that were taken into the U.S. or Soviet governments to help build missiles or space program stuff. So there's that. But even that, he even sort of talks about possibly making a master race in these underground tunnels and stuff like that. But more importantly, he accidentally calls the president, well, as I'll demonstrate, Mein Führer is not... I'm sorry, Mr. President, I didn't mean to say that. And, yeah, he's kind of this weird character, but the funniest thing that ever happens in the movie is his right arm's refusal to... Or was it? Yeah, his right arm to... His arm is always doing this every few minutes. You'll see... Oh, sorry that, Mr. President. I had to do something. And, ironically enough, this was the one time where Kubrick broke one of his cardinal rules, actually.
And what's that?
He let his actors improvise, actually.
Oh?
Now, Kubrick's very anal about these kind of things. He's always been known to have everything go exactly as planned, 100%. And God help you if you ever mess up anything else, or you'll have to do that take 127 times. But with this one, Kubrick did something different, actually.
And what's that?
Well, with Sellers, he just told him to basically improvise this scene because he wanted to get a very realistic reactions and realistic comedy in his thing, pretty much. Actually, it became so apparent that it was very funny that in some scenes, they actually had to stop filming because the cast and the crew were always laughing, apparently. And honestly, that's what makes the film for me, because Peter Sellers sells this film 100% pretty much. And he even gets to have to close the film on his most funniest line. He stands up out of his wheelchair and he says, Mein Führer, I can walk! And the movie ends with a giant bomb falling, destroying the world. So that brings me to one of my favorite quotes, actually, from Peter Sellers, which was this: "There used to be a me, but then I had him surgically removed. No, seriously, he actually said that.
Really?
Yeah, he was a weird dude, but damn it, a good actor all the ways, I'd say. So basically, I'm trying to say to any future actors like Peter Sellers, be the best that you can, and maybe you can help sell a movie. That's what I'm saying.
And what would you rate the movie?
Well, I love it so much for its sarcastic socialist film sort of view thing. And I love Peter Sellers is able to be let loose because Kubrick didn't hold him back. He just let him loose. And he let him improv a lot of his dialogue. So for that, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Because yes, it's a little slow, but it's worth every penny of it.
Okay, well...
You know, I just thought, we've been talking for a while. Maybe we should tell the people what we would like them to do now.
Well, I guess what I would like them to do is click the like button and maybe hit the subscribe button as well and the bell button and follow us on social medias like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Exactly.
And am I missing something here?
Well, maybe they could, if they would like, they could go into Patreon requests, and if they have anything particular in mind, they can tell us, and if they want, they can help support the channel by going to Patreon and maybe supporting us financially if need be.
Okay.
Exactly. But more importantly, just, stay on tune, and we'll bring you more stuff for that stuff.
Well, I guess that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you guys in the near future. Take care.
Auf Wiedersehen. Hope we'll meet again.
Some sunny day.
One would hope. Yes.